Today's video is epic. Welcome to the Grape Jelly Library, where we love to talk about books. My name is Flossie, and I am so glad you could join me. I always look forward to your visit. Hello there. I am so excited to bring you the two books that I have recently read. They are both in relation to one another, and they are both feel good, do good, wonderful, take home to your mama kind of books. The first book that I read is Do Epic Shit by Ankur Warikoo, and it is phenomenal. Highly recommend this. He's done all the fancy footwork and presented this to us on a silver platter. All that we need to do is read it, comprehend it, and proclaim, aha, this boy knows what he's talking about. For example, the way that we treat others, our brother-in-law, our neighbor, our co-worker, the store clerk at the gas station, that is our business card. That's our calling card. We are handing that card out continually with each and every person that we encounter. Are we handing out our best version of ourselves, or are we handing out a junkier version of ourselves? The part of ourselves that we all could stand to make improvements on. I don't know about you all out there, but I definitely have my moments where when I'm getting ready, I'm already in that mirror, blowing my hair dry or putting makeup on or doing one thing or another. I'm already there. And I can say to myself, okay, Floss, you know what? You're being a little bit of a jerk. Reel it in. This is not who you are. This is not how you want to be. And we need to fix that in you today. I think we all have those moments. In general, I try to be the best version of myself. I try to always put my best foot forward. It's not always doable, but I am, for the most part, aware, and I just try to do my best job on a daily basis. So this book helps me, at least it helped me, to further in that, I don't want to say goal, because there is a thing that I want to mention about goal. So it helps me to further myself in that process. All right. So the thing about goals is, this is what Ankur believes, that goals are great. And while they are for some people, they are not for everybody. They are not for him. And I am also in agreement with him. They are no longer for me. Every January, we might set ourselves goals. I don't really go heavy on the goals in January. For me, it's always been September. It's always been September, because that's when the kiddies go back to school, and that's when their year starts to learn. The learning process starts. And I like to liken my life and my journey to a learning process. So just as if I were to be attending school in the fall, that's when I start to set my goals, when I'm in the learning mode. I no longer want to set these goals, because the bells were chiming, they were ringing. He says, and I am on board with this, goals land you at a destination. So for example, I want to lose 10 pounds. All right. So I set myself a goal, and I work hard at achieving that goal. And then I arrive at my goal, essentially arriving at my destination. Now, dig this. Once I've arrived at that destination and completed that goal, what is left for me to do? Set another goal? perhaps in a different direction. Maybe I want to work on my penmanship now. While working on my penmanship, my goal of the aforementioned lost 10 pounds, I have found myself putting 5 of it back on. So, what has really happened? Not a heck of a lot as far as learning goes, right? So he is more on board with habits, because habits build us. Habits help us to grow. So if I establish a healthy, happy habit, what is going to happen? I'm going to learn from that habit, right? If I apply that habit on a daily basis, I'm going to learn from that habit. And what happens when we learn? Chances are things are more likely to stick and stay with us. So that's what I have learned from this book. Feels right to me. Ditch the goals and adopt the habit. Love it. Don't know about you, but I love it. The second thing that he has made very, very clear to me is, would I be my friend? Would I be my friend? If I could step outside of myself and view me through your eyes, would I be my friend? Would I marry me? Would I be my own boss? I love that. These are thought-provoking, worthy questions that are very relevant. If you are at the point in your life where you're looking for a change, or you're looking for some realization, some relevance, or if you are just a person who likes to continually grow, I would highly suggest this book. It is wonderful. Not too long, wouldn't take up a heck of a lot of your time, and you would definitely step away with some very important information. A second book I would like to bring to your attention is The Story of Stevie Wonder by James Haskins, and I happen to have a copy of that right here. I will tell you the story of how I acquired this book, and how my love of Stevie Wonder began. Back when I was a little girl in the 70s, there were some fantastic, phenomenal songs going on in the music world. And I remember my mom, we'd get out of school and my mom would, oh, I just love it, take us to McCrory's right after school to pick out our Halloween costume. My sister, who's older than me by 1 year, was right there by my side, and we were picking out our Halloween costume, and my younger sister was off yonder with my Muma. So my older sister and I were like, what do we want to be? Do we want to be I Dream of Jeannie? Do we want to be Evel Knievel? Do we want to be Woody Woodpecker? You know, the plastic costumes in the box that I'm talking about. Now, take this. My mother was very skilled at sewing, and so was my grandmother. And oftentimes they would sew us up an elaborate costume. And I don't want to say that I wasn't grateful, because I was. However, there was nothing quite like a Halloween costume in a box with that elastic mat waist, you know, that elastic face mask that you couldn't breathe, you know, the steam would, and then come out your eyeball holes or out the sides. Oh my God, those costumes were the best. They were just plastic pieces of junk, but to me they were pure heaven. I loved them, and so did my other sister. And you know what? So did all the other kids on the block. But anyway, My sister got me into the habit of smelling things. She's a heavy smeller of things, and she would love to pick up the bag of Brock's candy with the pumpkins. This had the black bats, the chocolate bats in it, and the pieces of Indian corn and candy corn in there, and it just smelled heavenly. And while we were having this, fantastic moment. Yay, we're out of school. Yay, it's October. Yay, Halloween is coming. And yay, we're getting our costume. And yay, this candy smells delicious. All the while we were experiencing that moment, Stevie Wonder was on the radio, being broadcast throughout the store. Superstition. And I loved it. Oh my goodness. I loved it so much. Fast forward. Valentine's Day. Valentine boxes. All the kiddies would hand out the Valentines. Put it in your mailbox in school. Knowing I'm coming home from school on the day before or on Valentine's Day, and Charlie Brown Valentine's Day special is going to be on, and the radios played heavily. I just called to say I love you by Stevie Wonder, and I just loved it. I just loved it. So that's where my love of Stevie Wonder began. I think just always I've loved Stevie Wonder. So how I got the book is I was at my local library book sale last summer, 2022. And I am so thankful I went on that day, and I am so thankful that this book crossed my path that day. And I am so thankful that I was, the one that got to purchase this and bring it home. Well, I finally read it a year later, almost a year later, and I love it. I love Stevie Wonder so much. I love him even more now. I've learned a thing or two about the blind that I didn't know or I didn't realize, and it was brought to my attention, and I was like, I never really looked at it that way, or I never really thought about it that way. For instance, the blind do not, those who are blind and have never had sight they don't dream in pictures because they've never seen a tree. They've never seen the color green. So how can we expect them to dream in pictures? And I never really stopped to think about that. And now that I know, I am grateful for that information. And I am grateful that I have a better understanding. Stevie wasn't born blind. Stevie became blind at infancy in the incubator that he was placed in. It had too much oxygen in it, and it caused a certain medical condition in the eye, which caused him to go blind. They also placed another infant baby in that incubator. Again, too much oxygen, and she did not make it. She passed away. Tragic. Stevie's mom always felt bad that he was blind, and he felt the sadness in his mom. So, even though it might not have been true, he wanted to put his mother's heart at rest. So he said, it's okay, Mom. I'm quite happy to be blind. I'm okay. I don't know. I just like that level of compassion that you take it off of yourself because you see somebody else hurting and you're trying to comfort them. That's just a wonderful human being to me. I didn't know that Stevie was also in a car accident. He was in the car with his cousin, and there was a logging truck in front of them, and his cousin, I believe his cousin's name was Ira, went to go around that vehicle and when doing so, the vehicle put its brakes on, causing some of its logs to disengage and come through the windshield and hit Stevie in the face, resulting in him going into a coma, possibly not surviving, and his head was swelling to the point where he was unrecognizable. After about 7 or 9 days, he did come out of the coma, but he lost his sense of smell. That was devastating to him, but luckily he did regain that sense of smell back. This is not a coincidence that I didn't read the book and then go buy the Stevie shirt. Oh, no, no, no. We already had the Stevie shirt, and we had the book, but I just thought it would be fun to wear my Stevie shirt when I'm talking about the Stevie book. There was a point in the book where I just got chills, and that was after Stevie had his accident, and he had some scarring, and he was up on the stage. I'm not sure if it was the Grammys or something that he was at, but he was on the stage and he didn't mutter a word to the audience. He just pointed to his forehead. I have chills now. And he pointed up to the sky, and the audience knew. They knew. And then he cut into superstition. I have chills. I just love him. How many times am I going to say that I love Stevie Wonder? But I love Stevie Wonder. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe you love Stevie Wonder too. Maybe you want to find out about Stevie. There's so many good points in this book that being blind didn't stop him from being a kid. He would jump from shed to shed to shed in the backyards of the neighboring houses. But in order to do that, he had to rely on sound. So he would put a sound out there in the atmosphere, and the vibrations would tell him how close or how far a shed would be. And that would tell him if he had an allowance to make that jump or not. I think that's pretty fascinating stuff. For sure, for sure. Now, to end this video, I am just going to say today is the second day of May Horror Mayhem, and I'm doing this. My husband forbade me to read these haunted house books because he did not want to conjure up any entities, and he didn't want any to stick. So he forbade me to be reading them. He told me to go read Bugs Bunny. But I never was good at, I never was good at listening to him. I'm kind of like Stevie. When it comes to that, I march to the beat of my own drum. So there, I have picked up this book, Haunted, by Dora L. Williams. It is the true story of a Canadian family who purchased a haunted house. And I have started this book yesterday. I am going to start in on it again and see, maybe I can get halfway through. I'm on page 24, and there is only... very short. Horror Mayhem books are very short, under 250 pages. There's only 189 pages. So maybe I can get halfway through today, my day off. Because I am interested in knowing what happened. But my interest seems to fade as the evening sets upon us and it gets a little darker, and I'm the only one up in the house. Then my interest is no longer in a scary book, because I have been, I do what I got to do, but I also could be a big chicken. Anyways, we're gonna do our reading of those books in the daylight. So I better get going and get on with the business if I want to bring you my next video. Until then, know that I love you. Be well, be good, be reading, and may all your book dreams come true.